I had the pleasure of preaching the seventh last word of Jesus this year. And since July is the seventh month of the year, it's only fitting to repeat it to New Spirit for the need of comfort, which is 7 letters. I'm going to do a lot of 7, so y'all follow me now. When I thought about rest, not only did I think about God, but Jesus' journey, as well as things we do and go through daily, why we would need to apply rest. In the first chapter of Genesis, Elohim, I always pronounce them wrong sometimes, but it's the Hebrew word for God, completely creates the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Then creates, blesses, and sanctifies, which means make holy, dedicated, or set aside the seventh day as the day of rest unto God's self, for creation to be restored. There's also 7 letters in the word restore. Follow me now. This is important to mention. First, because it's not by accident that 7 symbolizes completion or perfection. And Jesus was the perfect example for the people of the world, and the word perfect has
7 letters.
Thank you. Following me. That's a good thing. See, we must either keep up or give up. While productivity, efficiency, and success are honorable goals, too often we strive to keep up this feverish pace. And in doing so, we fail to rest well. As the world persuades us in some shape, form, or fashion to work without any real type of temporary delay, our divine designer offers us true rest. True rest is more than simply stopping or slowing down. It allows us to connect deeply with God, to give God our burdens and receive their peace. We know the creation story, where God spent 6 days creating the earth and rested on the seventh. This act of rest was so important that not only did God demonstrate it, but God also commanded us to observe the Sabbath as part of the 10 Commandments. Perhaps we've heard this so often that its significance is lost on us because, and its practice has become stale. Since St. Paul II, the Great, had observed a lack of holy rest among the faithful and implored us to revive this practice in his apostolic letter, Dies Domini. Here's a little background on St. Paul the Great, better known as a Pope, a Bishop of Rome, St. Paul II, who died April 2nd, 2005 at the age of 85. Pope Francis stated, "The Lord God is revealed through simplicity, the simple things in life, and humility is one of them." John Paul II powerfully exemplified those attributes of God and deserves the title great, not because he was overly grand, proud, or powerful, but because he was humble, simple, and holy. And holy, which means he was set aside for God to use him. This is why he felt the need to write the letter, Dies Domini. The letter is Latin for Day of the Lord, or the Lord's Day. It specifically refers to Sunday in the Christian tradition as the day commemorating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, along with encouraging the Catholics to rediscover the significance of Sunday. Now, the fourth commandment in the 10 commandments instructs people to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy, dedicating it to rest and worship. This commandment, found in Exodus 28 through 11, emphasizes a strong, regular, repeated pattern of work and rest, and 6 days for labor and 1 day for this. Involves refraining from work and dedicating the day to rest, reflection, and worship. There must be an equally dedicated approach to rest as we do to work. I know I'm a pause here because I know we work more than we rest, because we got to make that money, because the bills is more, we spent more, the kids got to eat. For those that don't have kids, if you have baby four-legged kids, they still have to eat. You still have to keep them going as far as just like bathing and take them to the groomers, and they got to get shots. And we need all of this, but at the same time, that's still like work, but it's not rest. But when you decide to rest, you want to worship your Creator in the rest, because that's basically what it's about too. Don't just leave out the worship part, because even if you spend 10 minutes allowing God to know, I hear you, I see you, or if you don't hear God, I feel you, because God has created us to be able to feel God's presence in our lives. And this helps us, when you worship, to have a closer relationship with God. Because a lot of times when things go on in our lives and when things happen to us, we don't really understand why they're happening. So in our relationship with God, if we rest, take that, make it sacred, please. Because then our body would love on us for real. Our body's saying, okay, what are you doing? Because I mean, you can do so much. You're out in the lawn, you look at that, you just came from work, and you said, man, I need to pull up these weeds, or I need to do this, or I need to, that's still work. That's not resting just because you're not at work. It's still a part of work. You need to just step back, take a minute, and say, this is the temple that God has created between me and God. This is the only day I get. Even if it's Sunday, we're here. But don't go home and start doing some work, because a lot of people think Sunday is set aside to work. Because you do everything else, you still doing work. That's still work. Don't do that. If you want to do laundry, do it Saturday. Hang out, do something, still do your little work, but give God Sunday. And you give yourself that chance, because your body will let you know, hey, what are you doing? I'm sitting down. So if you feel like you're going to pass out, that's why, because you hadn't had no rest. Okay, rest is considered a form of resistance. And I know we all heard about that. Specifically against the pressures of capitalism and white supremacy. And it was a lady, Tricia Hersey, a founder of the NAP ministry. Now that's something, a NAP ministry. I heard of it before, and I said, let me look this up. Her concept is outlined in her book, Rest is Resistance. Frames rest not just as a personal choice, but as a radical act of defiance against systems that prioritize productivity and exploitation over human well-being. Here's some takeaways why rest is seen as resistance. Disrupting productivity norms. Capitalism and white supremacists often demand constant productivity and exhaustion. Rest, particularly in the form of naps, challenges this expectation and exerts the inherent value of human beings beyond their output. So you know if you're doing too much and you taking a nap and you wake up, if you go to sleep, I say you get home at about 5 o'clock and you're supposed to take a nap. And your nap's supposed to be around no more than an hour. But when you wake up, you didn't miss dinner. You normally have coffee before you have dinner when you come home. You didn't miss that break. You wake up probably about midnight or 1 o'clock. This is no joke. I've done that. And that lets me know that I did not get enough rest throughout the day. Even if you take these energy pills that help keep you going, don't take them too late in the day because you're going to end up sleeping all day and night and to part of the next day. That's too much. So for this, I wanted to let you know I added something for you guys because before I do that, I decided to add some colors. I'm going to get to that last. I want you to know that rest is a gift. It is. And a command from God. We think about commands when somebody said, now they're not asking you, they're saying, go sit down. That's a command, right? They didn't ask you, just told you. Another command would be like, ask, would you go sit down? Just ask. But sometimes we'll get a command, and it's not bad. It's really not. But in the command from God, acknowledging our need for rest is also a reminder that God created the world with a sense of work and rest. Rhythmic pattern designed for us to be willing participants. Now you hear what I said, willing. God allows us to make these choices. We have options, we have choices. Now, if your body breaks down because you didn't rest, you cannot blame it on God. There you go, choices. This command is not just a suggestion, but a direct instruction from God to us, the people of God. Everyone should try rediscovering Sunday. Don't be afraid to give up your time for Christ. True rest is both a commandment and a gift to humanity that isn't exclusively for Sunday. As we rest, we learn to relinquish our grip on earthly things and ponder the reality of God's great love for us. In light of this, how might we respond to the commandment to keep holy, which is set aside or consecrated, the Sabbath, and to cultivate recurrence patterns, routines of holy rest throughout the remainder of the week? In other words, make it a habit. In the book of Deuteronomy, we watch the whole history of Israel unfolding as a love story between God and the chosen people that were enslaved in Egypt for centuries. That God would keep the promise to free God's beloved Israelites from bondage. Upon their liberation, God instructed them to remember that you too were once owned as property of someone else involuntarily in the land of Egypt. And the Lord your God brought you out from there with a strong hand and outstretched arm. That is why the Lord your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. That's Deuteronomy 5:15. And there's spiritual significance. when it comes to the biblical rest. It's more than just physical inactivity. It's also spiritual. That's when you're engaging with God. It involves trusting God, turning away from the cares and concerns of the world, and focus. We care so much about what's going on in the world that we forget about ourselves. I mean, we can help other people, but we have to take, I would say, take the airlines, what they do and say, you put the mask on you first, and then if you have somebody that you want to help, you put that mask on them next, but you got to help you first. So you got to make sure you're okay. I have sometimes people will call me. I could be asleep, wake up, and they need something. I look at the phone and say, wow, it's late. Okay, I got to answer this. No, you don't. I want to make sure you understand you do not have to engage. If you are tired, be willing to finish your rest, and then you call them the next day and say, you know, I saw that you called, but I was out of it. What's going on? But make sure you take that time for yourself. Now today, I decided to add, as I close, a few colors that I hope you can use when you're resting. One color I decided to wear today. I'm glad it's air on in here because I would be burning up, but it's very light. So it's quiet, it's restful. Green is a soothing color that can invite harmony and diffuse anxiety. Remember that? No matter what shade of green. Blue, I put this on because it don't match, but it's okay because it's blue. A highly peaceful color. Blue can be especially helpful for stress management. I call it my healing color because it can encourage a powerful sense of calm. Purple, in many cultures, shades of violet represent strength, wisdom, and peace. So if you pick any of these colors to do certain things for you, make sure you do it because this is what you need. Not because I said it, but it's something you need. Now, research studies discovered red to be the best color light to help you sleep. I said, I'm going to start putting this red light on because it increases productivity of melatonin. All the stuff we get as babies when they just out of this world, they doing too much. But it's also as well as full darkness. So a red light, that melatonin that we already have within us, it helps increase that. So you're able to get the rest of the sleep that you need at night. God bless you. This is the end of my sermon. Rest to restore.